All right, guys, so I'm going to do, this is the first demo for 2-point perspective. So just like 1-point perspective, we're going to start with the horizon line. And what we're going to be making is we're going to be making a more detailed house. We're going to do an L-shaped house with a garage. So just start with the horizon line. Now, the main difference here between 1 and 2-point perspective is that in 2-point, we're going to have 2 vanishing points. And I typically like to put them at the end of each page, or at the end of each side. So I'm going to put a vanishing point on the far left and on the far right, and they should be on the horizon line. Okay. Um, Now what we're going to do, so in 1-point perspective, the main way you would draw something, and don't actually draw this, but like if I were drawing a square, I would just draw a square and then I would take all the corners to a vanishing point. Since we have 2 vanishing points, it's going to be a little bit different. Okay, so that would be like 1 point there. With 2-point, instead of drawing a shape, you start with a vertical line. So we're going to go like over here, and we're just going to start with the vertical line that goes a little bit above and a little bit below the horizon line. Okay. And then what you do is you take the top and bottom of that line and you go to both vanishing points. So I'm going to take the top and bottom to the left, and I'm going to take the top and bottom to the right. Okay, and I'll kind of look like a big weird diamond, but this is actually the start of a cube in 2-point perspective. So now what happens is this becomes like a corner of the box that we're looking at. And so we're going to cut it off on the left and right with a vertical line. So however far I want my wall to go here, and then maybe out here just a little bit. And then you should be able to kind of see a box hiding in there. So what I'm going to do now is if I erase some of these extra lines, you should start to see a box. Now you want to leave the horizon line on the outside, but I'm going to get rid of these guidelines out here. Okay, so like that, and like that, and we'll get rid of this side here, like that. So there I've created a 3D box in 2-point. So the biggest thing is when people start doing this again on their own, they always forget how to start an object. So it just starts with that single vertical line. That's how we started it. Okay. So what's going to happen is this is going to end up becoming our garage. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a roof on it. Now, because this is in perspective, I can't just draw a triangle up here. There's actually a way that we can find the center point and make sure that our roof is centered. So just as a guideline, you're going to go on this wall here and you're going to line up your ruler corner to corner. On both sets of corners, you're going to make an X in the middle. And then that center of the X, you can line your ruler straight up and you make it as tall as you want. And then that's going to be the height of your roof. So everything I have in red there, that's a guideline. So you're going to erase that. Then you take the top of this guideline down to both corners here. And then that's going to be a perfectly centered roof. And then we take the top of the roof to the right vanishing point. So what's going to make this trickier now as we get into it, you're not going to always know which vanishing point to use. So trying to pay attention to which direction things are already going will kind of help you with that. And then all we have to do on our house or the garage part is we're going to cut off the back end of the roof. So I basically want a line that is parallel to this angle here. Line that up with your ruler and then shift it back here. And then lay your ruler right there and draw it like that. And then we'll just erase this out here. Okay, so now it just looks like a mini little house, but it's actually going to end up being our garage. So what we're going to do next is we are going to actually add the house onto the side of this. So here's the tricky part. This is an L-shaped house. So if I just continued this to the right vanishing point, the garage and house would just be next to each other. But I want it to be an L shape where the house pops out in a different direction. So I'm going to be using these 3 corners here, but I'm actually going to draw away from the left vanishing point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw away like this, and I'm going through this point right here from the vanishing point. So you won't draw through it all the way like I did. What you'll do is you'll start right here with your ruler. Make sure your ruler's lined up with the vanishing point, and you're just going to draw out like that. And do the same thing here. You're going to go up and draw out like that from this corner, and then you're going to draw out from this bottom corner like this. Okay, something like that. So now this is like a new wall of the house jutting out in a different direction. So then all I have to do is decide where I want that house to be cut off. So maybe I do like a vertical line here. And then I take the top and bottom of this line to this vanishing point. So there's like a lot of lines going on. It might seem confusing, but once we start erasing lines out, it'll start to make more sense. And then I'm going to just do maybe another vertical line here for the other side of my house. So you should kind of be able to start to see it pop out here. So to make it less confusing, let's erase some of these extra lines out. Let's erase that out, and then let's erase this out, and erase this out here. And this bottom line can erase out as well. All right. Oh, and actually this can erase out as well. But I'm going to leave that very top line. That one's important. Okay. So now you can see that I have this other kind of rectangular shape jutting out in a different direction for the other side of my house. We're going to do the roof on this side. The first part's going to be the same, and then the second part will be a little different. So I'm going to make an X here, so I know where the center point is. Go straight up from the center. Now what you do here is you go straight up, but now you go to where you hit that previous line. If your line goes up off the page, then your roof is going to be up off the page. You're going to kind of have to guess where that is. So I'm going to change this back, and then I'm just going to connect up to that. Okay, and then I'm going to take my eraser and just erase this a little bit off here. Okay, so now you can see that's just a basic L-shaped house. So now what we will do is we're going to add some detail to this. And I think before I go in too much, I'll leave the X on this side just so you remember how we did it. But I'm going to erase it on this, and you should erase your guidelines too. If you wanted to leave them on there to remember how to do it, I guess you could. Because this is going to be just like a practice drawing for you guys. You're going to be doing a bigger project with this later on. So now next I want to open up my garage. So I'm going to kind of create a hole in my garage here because I want my garage door to be open. So I'm just going to start kind of like with a vertical line here. It's going to touch the bottom, but not the top. So I'm kind of creating like a frame around this where the garage would be. I'm going to take the top of this to the right vanishing point. You don't have to draw it all the way. You can just draw it like maybe up to here. And you want to make sure that this little frame you create here is skinnier than this frame because it gets just a little bit farther away. So I might do something like this. So this literally is just a vertical line to the vanishing point and then a vertical line. And then I'm going to take my eraser and just erase that bottom part out. And so now my garage is opened up. And then we're just going to draw a couple of lines to add to the inside here. So I'm going to take this. We're going to go this bottom corner here to the left vanishing point, and we'll have it stop like right there. Now we might be able to see the back corner in here. So the way you would test that is you would take this to the right vanishing point. Mine, yep, it does. It looks like it meets up at about right there. So I'd have just a teeny little angle in there, and then I would do a vertical line straight up from there. So this is kind of like when we did the hole in our box in 1-point perspective. If you can kind of get those corners to meet up on the inside, then you would draw it. So mine just barely fit in there, and there's going to be just a little line in there I need to get rid of. Yeah, there. Now you can see that back corner's in there really nice. Okay, now we're going to make a driveway come out from the garage. And so we're going to look at this corner here and this corner here. We're going to draw away from the left vanishing point. So if we draw away, all the way off the page. So it's this corner right here. So you don't need to draw all the way through like I did. You can start on this corner. Start on this corner, line your ruler up with this, and then just draw out. We're going to do the same thing with this corner out here. Okay, and this is going to be kind of a little tight squeeze here because this is usually a pretty thin area. But it was just that little corner there away from the vanishing point. Okay, so I'm going to stop there for the first video, and I'll continue in the second one.